What's up guys, Justin Morgan here, Carved Up Vegan Muscle. And today it is about 5:30 right now in Ohio, here where I live, and I got home and it's already dark out, so it kind of sucks. Coming home, I leave in the morning, it's kind of dark when I leave, and I get home and it's dark when I leave work, so it's not really a great scenario for being out at all. But this video is going to talk a little bit about frequency and lifting frequency and how to progress. I am a really big fan of the way that the Norwegians train. The Norwegian powerlifting team, they have some great lifters such as Carl Yngvar Christensen. He did hold the world record in the squat, as a super heavyweight. I think it's as a single ply lifter, and I think he's been going back and forth between him and Blaine Sumner on it. So there's a couple of guys that were involved in that. I know that Carl Yngvar Christensen had an injury, so it kind of put him out of the whole thing back a year or so ago. But I'm not sure exactly where he's at now. A couple other lifters, Marty Elverum is a female lifter, and she does really well in the IPF as a lifter. So, but I just wanted to talk about frequency. They have a really good training program. They actually had a study that was conducted on the Norwegian powerlifting team where they looked at both the different ways to do frequency, and it was primarily looking at frequency. And they had two groups. They had a 3-day-a-week lifting group, and then they had a group that followed the exact same amount of volume as the 3-day-a-week group. So they were doing the same amount of sets times reps times sets, but they were doing it spread out over 6 days. And they found that that group not only produced much greater muscular gains, but they also got significantly stronger in the squat and the bench press. Now, the deadlift actually did not increase quite as well as the other two lifts did. The deadlift was, it progressed about the same for both groups, so frequency really didn't affect the deadlift very much, which I take all of that into consideration when I write the programs that I follow and things that I do. And I think that it's a good idea for you as a lifter, if you're watching this video, to take some of those same things into consideration. So I'll post some links to articles that were written about the study. Unfortunately, the study was supposed to have been published after it was conducted, but the Norway as a country decided not to publish the results of the study or publish the exact, well, the results were kind of already out. They chose not to publish the article itself. They didn't want people to use the programs. Basically, they wanted to keep it kind of confidential in what they did. So the guy that actually conducted the study, the researcher, was Rostad. When you see his name in literature, it'll be Rostad et al. So I can kind of give you guys some ideas about what was conducted in the study. I remember reading it, and I'm sure it's floating out around there somewhere. So if you're watching this and you actually have a copy of the study, I would appreciate it if you were able to send it to me, because I never saved the actual study itself. I just took it for granted that it would always be there. So it was actually removed. What had been leaked out and what was out there, they actually had it removed. And there are some writings about it. You can read about it at powerliftinguniversity.com, which was done by a guy named, I think it's Martin. I can't remember his last name, but he was kind of in the same area. He knew some people that were involved in the study kind of thing, and he kind of gave out some of the information. He might have been the source, I don't know. But Greg Nuckols has written quite a bit about the study as well, so those are both good sources to look at. And Greg Nuckols, when he published it, actually had references where you could actually go see the study. So I try not to give a lot of references to studies that people can't read. I don't think that that's advantageous. I know most YouTubers do that. They'll say, oh, I have a study, and they'll post up something. I think that's silly. If you can't actually go read the study, you can't decipher the information for yourself, then there's no point in looking at just an abstract or something that somebody found at PubMed, and that's a telltale sign that the person's not a very good researcher when looking for information. But in terms of what we can learn from this, I actually am a really big advocate. I found a lot of benefits myself in following high frequency. So what I usually recommend is that people start out with one of the, if you look at the templates that they have or that I've put out in the past, oftentimes they'll start with, if you take the 6-day-a-week programs that they follow, like a beginner lifter would do really well following the same program for 3 days a week. So you pick 3 of the days rather than 6 because you don't need that much volume to progress. And inevitably you will start to slow down. You won't be able to progress quite as much. So you'll need to increase the volume, increase those things. And as that volume starts to increase and you start to have a lot of work per session, for a drug-free lifter, I think it's much better to start to add in other days. So you add in a 4th day. So maybe you're having a squat day, squat, bench, upper body pull day, and then on another day you have a lower body pull, like a deadlift, some other type of press, and then a similar, either a lower body pull or a lower body accessory movement. And those would be good, to flip those 4 days. So, you do both, the beginning of the week would kind of be like that, and then so maybe a Monday, Tuesday workout with the parameters that I just explained, and then later in the week you could do Thursday and Friday or Friday and Saturday and follow the exact same kind of approach. Now, as you start to add in a 5th and a 6th day, over the course of several years, you kind of get the same idea. You start to add in days, and they should have purpose. You should have reasons. So other factors that you would include daily undulating periodization, and some of these other things that have been shown to be very effective for lifters. If you're not familiar with daily undulating periodization, I would highly suggest that you check it out. I could do a video on it myself if there's any interest and people are interested in seeing how I've integrated daily undulating periodization, which I've read mostly just from Mike Zourdos, who's also a researcher and does a lot with powerlifting and strength athletes. So I don't recommend that everyone just immediately jump to a 6-day-a-week program. I think that it's more advantageous to start out with a 3-day-a-week program and start to add in days. And usually they should have a squat, press, pull, or upper body pull, a squat, press, lower body pull, or alternatively, some days could have a deadlift, which would be a lower body pull, a press, and then an upper body pull. So notice that most of it is squatting, and that kind of goes back to what I said in the very beginning about how the deadlift, when increased in frequency, really did not show the progress that the squat and the bench did. So those are just some ideas. I've kind of given a lot of information and talked a lot about studies and things, so hopefully you guys got something out of that. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you in the next video.